What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Perfect Mess Podcast. I'm your host, Ray Molina, and this is episode 98. Well, I'm outside right now. I'm getting a ruck in right now, got my weighted vest on, and I'm walking at the park. Full transparency. Let's call it that. Full transparency. I ain't been doing too hot these days. Last couple of days. Probably going on a week or so. Not really anything with me, you know what I mean? But it's a lot of things that are going on around me that, and I don't mean in my home or whatever, but it's with just things that are going on with other people that are around me that are starting to just really put me in a funk. And I don't know, I'm at this point, at least for right now, that I have been wanting to be left alone. I don't know how to explain that. It's I don't know, I guess it's really not that hard to explain, but I've just wanted to be alone, left alone, to push through the things that are going on right now. I've just got a lot of family stuff that I have told people to, I don't feel like dealing with this. Don't message me, don't call me right now. I'm not wanting to talk about these things. I'm not wanting to be a part of whatever's going on. I've made my stance on certain situations very evident, very, very clear, excuse me. And some people just don't know how to leave somebody alone. And it has just been pushing me to just shut down, to shut down and not answer phone calls, not answer text messages, and just be, be in my own world. And I'm sure there's someone out there who can relate to that. Now, when this stuff happens, obviously, it has nothing to do with my kids and my immediate circle, because no matter what's going on in my life or the people around me that are going through stuff that are trying to get me involved, I will never shake my responsibility to my children. So that's not what I'm talking about. We're still doing what we do. Still handle business, still make sure you're doing your daddy duties and doing the best you can. I apologize if you hear the wind. It's a little breezy out here today. But, this is just something that I had to get off my chest, man. A lot of people say, family first or family over everything. And I grew up thinking, yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. But then you kind of go through life, and if you're blessed enough to make it as far as I have, you start to reevaluate that term that you've been hearing your whole life. Family first, family over everything, because you learn, you go through life, you experience things, good, bad, indifferent, and you start realizing that, you don't always have a choice of or you never have a choice. Well, I don't know, I guess I shouldn't say that. You don't always have a choice to pick who's in your family. Maybe sometimes when marriage comes into play and whatnot, in-laws and stuff like that. So I guess in that sense you have a choice. But for the most part, your direct family, you don't really have a choice, you know? So with that being said, when things go sideways or disagreements happen or betrayal happens or you just are like, you don't go together, so to say, you know? Two things that just don't go together. Sometimes you gotta walk, or sometimes you just need a really long time out to reevaluate your relationship with that family member or family members. And I have had to do that. I've had people do that with me. I mean, we're calling it full transparency, right? Let's be transparent then, you know? I've had people reevaluate their relationships with me, friends, family, where, you know, they have, you know, chosen to walk and maybe cut ties with me for whatever reason they may have. And it doesn't need to be a valid reason for me. It could be a reason that they just find valid for their own lives and they want to move on. And that's fine. You know, when I was younger, you know, it kind of sucked, you know, because I wasn't as strong as I am today. But I understand it now as I've gotten older. And now I've had to cut ties, you know, with family or give myself space from family and or friends, and maybe revisit them in the future, or just say it's ran its course, or just different. And this is what I've been going through, and for me, I think one of the things that I struggle with is I tend to clam up and just go into my own world. Don't pick up the phone. Don't return calls. I don't return text messages, emails, you name it. I don't read direct messages. And I kind of just go and do what I do. And usually that's throw myself into church, throw myself in the gym, or bring myself outside to work out like I'm doing right now. And then just kind of go in on everything that I'm doing. Also, it's coaching, you know, so I throw myself into all these things. And that's what I've been doing. You know, one of the hardest things I've ever done was become a single father. And a lot of you guys who follow me know that wasn't by choice. But it is hands down the hardest thing I've ever done. I've done a lot of hard things in my life. But being a father without having the mom in the same house to help raise the kids, it's fucking hard, man. It's hard. It is really, really hard. It's stressful. A lot of times you don't feel adequate. A lot of times you don't feel like you're doing enough, and you may be busting your ass, breaking your back, and it still does not feel like you're doing enough. You know, it puts a strain on everything you do, you know, because if you're like me, my kids are my world. I put them before everything in my life, except God. It's God, because God has changed my life for the better. He's changed my kids' lives for the better. our relationships for the better. But I put them before everything. My own personal happiness, everything. Now, don't get me wrong. When I say my own personal happiness, I'm talking about relationships and going out and trying to find something for me. You know what I mean? I just I live my life, and if it happens, when it happens, that's when it's supposed to happen. I'm not too concerned about it. I had my fun in my life, and I plan on having some more, but it's going to be more of a family-orientated type of fun, you know what I mean? With all that being said, I try very hard to protect my kids from anything that I've ever gone through from my past with my own parents, and anything that my family, who are all adults, who should have their shit together, I try to protect my kids from anything that's going on with them, because nobody's perfect, but the unnecessary BS, it's unnecessary to have my kids around it or be witness to it. So I do my best to protect my kids from it. Full transparency, man. I got a sister that's struggled with addiction for a very long time, and I haven't had a solid relationship with her for shit, man. Let's see, what is this? 6 years? Maybe even longer. Because if you have anybody in your family, or if you've been battling addiction, having someone around you who is battling addiction, you are not dealing with the person that you grew up knowing and loving. You're dealing with a completely different person who is not that person that you love or They're living their lives by the seat of their pants, trying to get to the next fix, you know what I mean? And I have been burned financially. I have given money when I had no money. I have sacrificed certain things for my kids in the past to help, only to be burned and disrespected. And to be honest with you, I'm having a hard time bouncing back from that. I know most people get on social media and they'll tell you, I'm a good guy or I'm a good girl. I'm not the best person. I've made my mistakes, but I feel like overall I'm a nice person. I feel like I'm a good guy. I feel like I look out for people the best I can to my ability. But I never stopped praying for my sister, you know what I mean? I never stopped praying for her to bounce back and to get her life back. I never stopped praying for her healing and for her battle. And I never stopped praying for her to restore her relationship with her children and the family. But one thing that I got to be honest about is I'm not so quick to jump back into the ship with you, because you've shown me that ship sinks and has holes in the bottom all over the place, repeatedly, numerous times. So although I pray And I'm happy for a recovery. I'm cautious. And with being cautious means, yeah, again, I don't just jump in and start bringing my kids around. I don't start doing all that. I'm not so quick to get back to like everything's normal again. I'm cautious. And that doesn't always work for people. Sometimes when you want to fix something, you want to fix it now. So, I'm fixed. So let's reconvene with everything. And for me, it's like reconvene with what? Reconvene for the sake of you feeling like you're all good again. Why don't we build on being good for a while? Why don't we build on that? And to some people that may be harsh, but again, let me refresh your memory. I've been burned. I've been down that road where I've helped, where I've forgiven, where I've donated and given money and whatever else to help. Played a role that I probably shouldn't have had to play, but I did it because it's family, right? Family over everything, remember? So when I'm saying, hey, I never stopped praying for you, I'm pulling for you, I want you to get better, I mean it. But at the same time, I'm gonna be cautious because I'm a dad and I got 2 young sons that I'm still trying to get through life. And so far, them turning 14 and 12 in the next couple of months, I think their mom and I have done okay. I think for the most part, we've kept them clear of past traumas and stuff that we've gone through. I've gone through the bulk of it. My life. My life is pretty fucked up. But so I'm dealing with someone who is recovering and feeling great about themselves, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy that she's making progress. But you got to understand, I still want to be left alone. I don't want the emails, I don't want the text messages, I don't want the phone calls every day. I just want to be left alone. And I know I've touched on this in the past, but going back into, my relationship with my mother, my mother's one to just jump right back in the ship, like, hey, we're all fixed again. Let's go, full speed ahead. And that's the other side I'm dealing with, where, I've had to distance myself for a little while as well, because I've had to make it clear, like, hey, I get it. I'm happy that you're happy that she's, back on her feet and she's rebuilding again. I am. But do me a favor. Stop pushing the issue with me. Okay? I have shared on this podcast that my mom, and I love her to life, she's an enabler. She has enabled my sister to do everything she's done in life. Anytime she falls, she's got the net or the blanket and pillow ready, so it's a soft fall. And I understand my mom. I get it. But again, I'm not one to jump back in that ship. And I have, banged heads with my mom recently. And I've had to tell her, I just want to be left alone. Not return calls, not return messages, not return texts, whatever you want to call it. Some would say protecting my peace. Some would say, oh, Ray, you're just avoiding. Actually, no, I don't think I'm avoiding. I've addressed it directly. And if you want to say now that after I've addressed it, now that I'm avoiding, I guess maybe you could say that. But I would say once you address it, and people keep coming and people keep coming and they keep calling, they keep texting, they keep calling, keep texting and sending messages, now you're protecting your peace. To top all this off, I've got a dad, not a dad, because a dad is actually someone who's been there for you. I've got a father who is facing the reality of him getting very old. And on top of that, very lonely. Now, this is something I warned that man about when I was 18 or 19. I warned him when he said he was washing his hands of me. I warned him. I said, I'm all you got. I said, I look just like you. And every time someone sees you, they ask you about me. I said, you wash your hands of me, you're going to be a lonely old man. Years go by, years. I forgive him without ever getting an apology for anything he's ever done to me in my life. My grandfather and my grandmother were thankful for that because they knew how hard it was for me to do that. I've shared that with you guys numerous times. And then he screws it up again by living in the past, by trying to get me to do certain things between him and his mom that have legal issues, because now he thinks we're good and he can just knock on my door and have me do certain things for him. Sorry, I'm not that guy. And then continues to get on a soapbox and talk about how no one ever hears his side of the story, and how everybody's lied about him, and woe is me, playing the victim role. Now I got this man messaging me, talking about, I don't want this to be my life story. But no one ever wants to hear my side, yada, yada, yada. And let's set it up. I want to see my grandkids. Are you seeing a theme here? Let's just jump back in the ship. Hey, we're a big happy family. Let's just jump back in the ship, all of us. Like nothing ever happened. Hey, I forgave years ago. I promise you guys I did. But I feel like you do yourself a disservice when you don't remember, when you forget. You can forgive, but don't forget. Because if you forget, then you run the risk of going down that same path and not learning your lesson and going through it all over again. And guess what? We only get one life. We get one. We don't get to do this multiple times. And I've got these scenarios going on right now, and to be honest with you, man, I'm tired. I'm tired, man. I'm fucking tired. You know, my kids will never understand what it takes to be me until they get older. Until they go back through this podcast and hear my life and what it's been about and what I've had to do in order to keep them on the straight and narrow, and the things that I've had to do to protect them and protect myself and the family. I will never play the victim role, okay? Even now, you can look at this video if you're watching on YouTube. I'm working out. I ain't no victim, okay? I got this 40-pound vest on me, and I can't see my clock right now, but I'm probably 2 miles in. But I'm working out. I'm still doing what I do. But we're talking about full transparency. And this is what I'm giving you, man. This is my life. I don't know how all of this is going to get resolved. I don't. I can tell you that I hope that everything works itself out. I hope that my sister does stay on the straight and narrow and makes a full recovery and puts in the work that she's supposed to. I'm going to continue to pray for her. I never stop praying for her. I've had my men's group pray for her. I've went up to the altar at church and given her name so they could pour into her and her life and her children. I brought my mom to church when she comes into town, and I've had them pray for her relationship with my sister. I've never stopped. So yeah, I hope and I pray and I have faith that she will bounce back. But I have to stay the course, man, and protect my peace. My mom and I relationship, our relationship, it is what it is, you know. She's never going to change with regards to just running whenever my sister needs her. And I guess that's just what it's going to be. And all I can pray for and hope for is that hopefully my sister doesn't make her run anymore. Hopefully my sister can lead a somewhat normal life, and my mom's latter years can be peaceful, can be happy and stress-free. I don't know. To be honest with you, it hasn't been like that for decades. And I'm not exaggerating. And my relationship with my father is, like I said, I forgave him years ago. But we have to have that talk again, because I don't think he realizes that I'm not okay with you thinking that it's okay to just come back around my kids and all of a sudden we just jump back in and we're all fun and having fun together and doing all that. We can't do that, because you are still avoiding what you did with regards to the last time you and I talked during the pandemic. You asked for some time, I gave you some time, and then you proceeded to hang up because you didn't want to allow me to talk. And with all due respect, if I give you your time to speak, you're damn sure going to give me my time to speak. That is a non-negotiable. So that needs to happen. I'll say this again. People have died. People have left this earth. People are gone that we all love. The landscape has changed. But rest assured, man, I made sure to tell my grandfather and my grandmother that I will always do everything in my power to try to make sure that, for the most part, family relationships that we have are decent, are good, are respectable. We don't get to choose our mothers or our fathers. We don't get to choose our brothers and sisters. Sometimes you just need to take a break from all of them until things get right, and until you feel like you're strong enough to deal with whatever's going on, or until they figure it out. And you're not obligated to go be around these people until they figure it out, because guess what? You're still trying to figure yourself out. Every day I wake up, I'm trying to figure it out. And a lot of times, it means I just want to be left alone. I don't want people acting like they know my situation. I don't want people saying, yeah, I know, I understand, I get it, yeah, and then I don't want that from anybody. I need to, I don't know, I need to get through it myself, alone. And maybe that's one of the knocks on me, I always try to find things that I need to work on. And we all have them. But I think maybe the knock on me is that I close people out that are around me that genuinely do care about me, but I close them out when things like this happen. And it's just something that I don't know if is ever going to change. Full transparency. I love you guys. I hope you guys are doing all right. And if someone else is going through what I'm going through right now, you're not alone. It's a constant battle with family and loved ones. And hopefully you pray for me. Before I check out of here, my website is raymolina.com. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at It's Ray Molina. And the podcast is also on YouTube. It is youtube.com/theperfectmesspod. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell in the corner so you get notifications of any videos that I put up. All right. Whatever platforms you're listening to, make sure you subscribe, follow, leave a comment or a review. We have just been added to Amazon Music, and we've been added to iHeartRadio. So happy about that. All right, I love you guys. And like I always say, my life isn't perfect. Oftentimes it's a mess, but for me, it is a perfect mess. Peace.